I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I can't hear anything from you.
Carol, we mute until the meeting starts. So we just unmuted.
Okay, thank you. I thought I'd lost my hearing.
That's what we were trying to make you think.
I hope.
All right.
I hope
All in-
Supervisor Bishop acknowledges the fact that I've been taking good care of her chair.
All right, we'll call this meeting of the County Board Structure Advisory Committee to order on this day, the 16th of September, 2021. Affidavit of posting. This agenda was posted in the office of the county clerk on the 9th day of September, 2021. Notice was sent to the West Bend Daily News, Express News, WIBD, WMBZ Radio, WTKM Radio, My Community Now, Hartford Times Press, Kewaskum Statesman, Milwaukee Journal, Sentinel. And we will move to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, so we'll vote on the minutes from our October 2020 meeting. Got a first and a second by Supervisor Dice. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Committee structure discussion.
In the last minutes, oops, sorry.
Supervisor Prefall.
From our last minutes, we had talked about combining executive and administrative. We also talked about the human services and public safety, but general consensus was the committee that we combine the administrative and executive committee and no longer consider combining human services and public safety. So I don't know if we need to make a motion for that to happen. It's just a discussion, but I think we need to make that recommendation to the county board to combine those two, the administrative and executive committee. Yeah.
Okay, I also agree.
Supervisor Mary?
Carol,
Sorry.
or Supervisor Mary?
Yeah, I would concur with that. I think it just makes sense. I guess that's all I have to say. It just makes sense. There's some good logic there. I've
Excellent.
noticed a lot of the admin meetings when I was involved, we had some very short meetings. It seemed like an awful lot of effort and work put together to call a whole bunch of people together for a short period of time. And if that can be combined into a more efficient way by combining it with exec or whichever, I would support that. Thank you.
We don't need to vote on it.
Okay,
It's just a
excellent.
consensus. So
All right.
we'll just make that recommendation then. So in a minute, so reflect that.
Any other discussion on this? This is over. Can they give comment?
For the administrative and I think the committee is. Okay, cool. You can move on to salary and per diem.
All right, salary and per diem discussion. In your packets, you have the, it's not loading now. There we go. The salary and per diem data to look at. Chairman Creefall,
Marcia
or
was
actually,
first.
go ahead, Supervisor Bishop.
I have a question about when we're looking at the budget, proposed budget, there's life insurance, health insurance, retirement, long-term and short-term disability for whom?
Yep, those would be questions for the budget and analytics team. This was printed out simply for the information on per diem.
Okay, so all the rest of the information is just there.
But we're talking salaries, so whose salary is, that has to be part of somebody's salary. So I would think that would kind of fall underneath this item because it is supposedly part of somebody's salary.
I think we're specifically talking about the salary of the county board in general. And
Okay.
the per diem is just, they could have just showed us that number, but they put everything, all that other data in there with it. Supervisor Dice?
It is possible that those items that Supervisor Bishop was talking about may be coming from someone in the county clerk's office who helps the county board. So part of their salary is then put into here to
Okay.
reflect that. I'm just guessing. I don't know for sure, but I think this is something that we'd have to ask Margie Hammer or finance director or somebody for
Okay.
sure.
Thank you.
Actually,
Chairman
I
Kufal?
think, now that Chris, you brought that up, Takara is assistant to the county board chair and is assistant to the whole board. So, and I'm sure some of the other salaries in the clerk's office also is part of ours, I would think. I don't know. yeah. But I know there are some of the things that are on there that, that they have to do workers' compensation, they have to do unemployment. The broadcasting fees, telephone, other purchase services. A lot of that stuff we actually have NACO membership dues, travel, meals and lodging. What we did at executive yesterday, right? We did approve hiring of a county board liaison. So it's going to be a full-time position to really do the duties of the clerk's office and to be our kind of go-to person for doing resolutions, contacting different directors and, getting it set up. So we have a one point of contact at all times. So
that will replace what Takara.
Yeah, they wanted to put an additional full-time person at the county clerk's office, and this person's gonna report to the clerk's office and to the county board chairperson, and but it's gonna work out of that office, so that kind of shared, yeah. And then Takara will be able to be in the clerk's office 100%, and you guys won't have to worry about doing all this stuff.
So Takara will still be the assistant to the county board chair. The new position will be a liaison between, it's actually a legislative position, so somebody that can actually do legislative research, somebody that will be doing prepping of the agendas, that will clerk the meetings, that will do minutes, that will be a contact person for the county board. The county clerk's office. Or previously, the public affairs coordinator, when Ethan was here, was the legislative representative. That piece is currently missing for the county board. And now that the county executive's office is separate from the county board, there's not a shared staff member to be a legislative representative for the county board and do that type of research for advisory resolutions and things like that. So there will be at the next county board meeting, you'll have that job description as well as a resolution approving that position.
It also frees up the county attorney's office too. So if you have a resolution you want to do, an amendment that you want to do, the liaison will work on it first, and then Brad will just have to review it rather than have to compile it and take time out of his day. So.
What minutes would this person be doing, Mary? From what?
So the standing committee minutes,
Does that fall under your statutory duty as the clerk as the county clerk to take minutes for?
statutorily, I don't believe so, no. I think we will still be doing the county board minutes. Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this position, as I understand it, was created to, instead of adding to the clerk, more of a position, I think they were looking for possibly more of a part-time or a complete full-time position. Plus, we had the county attorney's office, plus the public affairs coordinator legislative, which is now part of the executive's office. So basically what they did was they rounded this into one position. And this is actually a pretty normal thing for larger counties. And I think we're probably qualifying at this point in Waukesha. I believe they have 2 or 3 of these positions that actually cover the county board. So it is under the auspices of the clerk of the county clerk's office. They will be the ones that would actually have oversight over this person. And they will help with, like Don said, resolution writings. They will be running the cameras here at the meetings, county board meetings, setting up a lot of the stuff that the clerk's office is doing now, which will free up some of the clerk's time, which will allow them to do their work without having to add another position. So they'll also be able to write resolutions, which the county attorney had been doing a lot previously. Now, the county attorney will still be inspecting these resolutions, making sure that everything's proper and correct, but won't be doing so much of the research, which is the part where he was having the difficulties with, especially now that they're taking on the foster kids and stuff like that. So this basically will round things into a lot easier format for the board, make things a single point of contact, and hopefully will give us a lot better chart of whose responsibility. So thank you.
Supervisor Schleif.
And just to add a bit to that, Ashley did ask us last night to be able to post for that position so that if it's passed in the next county board meeting, then she'll already be able to right away do interviews instead of, and if it doesn't pass, then nothing happens.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. I think it's a good idea because it's somebody that has the know-how to do it. Not that the county clerk, the ladies in the county clerk's office do not know how to do what they're doing, but they can focus on their jobs that they're supposed to be doing and have to do. Supervisor Dice.
This item really isn't on our agenda. I'm not positive we should even be speaking to it. Has nothing to do with the salary and per diem discussion, which is what we're supposed to be talking about.
Fair enough. Moving on.
Thank you.
So I think last time we talked about an addition to salary for supervisors, which didn't, I don't think that really attracted much support, if I remember right. And we talked about reducing salary of the chairperson, and that didn't have much support either. So I think, and to be honest with you, I found out that I'm doing a lot more work now, putting together committee reports and resolutions and things of that nature than I had been doing in the past. So, so I think we're at the per diem portion of it.
Supervisor Dice.
Mr. Chairman, this chairman,
Okay.
I think at that meeting, I'm getting up there in years, so my recollection is now is real good. But didn't we discuss, I thought I had asked if you could keep track of your hours for a period of time so that we'd have a feel of how much time you're actually putting in. And then as far as the per diem, I think, or the salary, I think what was discussed, and Supervisor Schleif can let me know if I'm off the track here, was that the committee chairpersons would get an increase because of the amount of time and work
Yes.
that they do over and above the other supervisors. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Supervisor Bishop.
Okay, I do recall that conversation for the committee chairs, and I believe it was consensus that that would happen because there's a lot more work for a chair. As far as the rest of the board members, I do feel it's appropriate to keep us where we're at. I don't think that it's necessary for us to get a bump in salary. And the comments that you just made, Mr. Chairman, about finding that you're doing more does justify keeping that salary the same as well. So my 2 cents worth.
Supervisor Mary.
Yeah, thank you. I know it's an item on the agenda, but are there any numbers to look at? Has there been any consideration as to if we want to increase the per diem for the chairs, what might that be? I mean, it's a discussion point, but I don't see anything in here with any examples or any proposals. Is that something that's going to be forthcoming, or is that something you want to discuss more here tonight?
We can talk about that now. Supervisor Creefall.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna look at increasing, I don't like using the per diem part of it, but if we want to increase the salary of chairperson, committee chair people, I think that would be appropriate. We have to decide what that entails, how much, what are we looking at to increase? Is that
Is the salary for the board supervisors a topic different than the per diem?
yeah, per diems are, if you go to additional meetings. you get
Is
a-
there a particular reason we need to be considering making changes on per diem?
Yeah, we can talk about that too. Yeah. Yeah, but the budget is low. We discontinued the West Bend TV. We didn't do much in travel and any conferences. So we've got down quite a bit. I didn't go to NACO this year, partly due to COVID. So that we did spend an awful lot less in regards to that.
Supervisor Schleif.
The 2021 actuals are pretty low now, but quite a few people are gonna be conferences. So that's gonna be a big. Plus, the per diems don't build up that much until we get to the end of the board year, which March, April, and that's where those of us that go to a lot of meetings get paid more. So that was 885 is artificially low. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you later.
Why don't you repeat it so that for those on YouTube?
I simply stated that the per diems right now are low at 885, but all the people going to lacrosse next month is gonna build that up. And also the per diems don't really kick in a lot until the end of the board year, which is more into January, February, March. So that was my only statement. Otherwise, I think the per diems as we have them now are reasonable, and I don't see a big reason to change them.
The per diem is set at $20 per diem for meeting attendant in excess of 30 meetings. So we don't get that $20 per meeting until we've attended at least 30 meetings. And there are just a few of us, I think, that probably collect on that because a lot of the other supervisors are not on as many committees as Jeff and I are. I know that. I'm on 8 other committees other than county boards, so it doesn't take me long to get to the 30.
I'm fine with leaving them where they are.
I am too.
If I might make a comment, I would assume that we look back at 2019, that would have been a typical year at $1,400. Granted, 2020 and 2021 have been impacted by COVID with reduced meetings and travel and so on. And I don't know why we wouldn't be able to just go back and use 2019 as a benchmark for moving forward. I'm guessing that's a valid assumption.
The only issue with using 2019 is a lot of people would not have been collecting per diem because that would have been the first year of the session. So the majority of per diem is collected in the even number years of the session because that's when supervisors reach their 30 meeting limit and start collecting per diem. So the per diem is, the 30 meetings is counted from April of the election year to the April of the next 2 years later. So the majority of that per diem is collected in the even number years. So 2019 is not necessarily a benchmark for how much annual per diem is paid out.
There's only
Okay.
$100 difference between 2020 and 2019. Actually,
Although 2020 was the year that we had the pandemic, so a lot of people were attending, either meetings were being canceled or there weren't as many, like WCA. A lot was by Zoom, and you still get paid per diem by Zoom, but WCA did not happen. A lot of the other meetings that normally happen in those even number years did not happen. So like the WCA, our organizational meetings weren't happening. So the pandemic did affect that number somewhat.
Supervisor Bishop?
Just to put it out there, there are some folks on the board who feel that there should be no per diem at all. I disagree with that. I think that it is something that we do need to keep for those folks that are on more committees that are going to these things. If you're not going more than your 2 times a month, I don't think you understand the importance of that recognition. It's not a lot of money. It's the recognition that goes with that you're being appreciated for taking that time to do that, go that extra mile on these meetings.
It seems that we have a general consensus on keeping the per diem and as we have it. So I think we'll just call that as consensus and we'll move back to talking about the county
Salaries.
board chair salaries and the chairman salaries.
Okay.
I think the last comment on the county board chairman salary was to keep it the same. Is that still the consensus? Okay, and then the committee chairs, moving them up. What are the, well, yes, so that's the question. What are the ideas on that?
21, I think. Is that right? I'm not even sure.
For the money.
Okay. What's that? $660 a month. Is that right?
550.
550, I'm sorry, 550 a month, 600 a year.
Mhm.
So, would 7,500 a year be? Sorry.
Supervisor Creefall.
If we're looking to increase the salary of board or committee chairs, would 7,500 a year be more appropriate for committee chairs? Or, I don't know about 100 a month, but 78. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It seems to me when we talked about it in the last meeting, and Chris, I'm old too, but it was either $100 a month or $150 a month more, and there was never a consensus reached, but I think those were the numbers that we're talking about.
Supervisor Dice, did you still have?
My thought was, are there any other counties that do this, and should we check if there are and see what, if they pay anything extra to their committee chairs? If they do, how much it would be? I don't know.
Sure, that's definitely an option.
At least counties comparable to our size.
We did do some checking on that, but I don't recall what it was.
No.
If I remember right, I think both those Aki and Waukesha do.
Okay.
I don't know.
Compares to Milwaukee.
I'm pretty sure that when we did some checking, I think it was, actually, I think it was Ethan that did the checking. I think it was Ozaki and Waukesha that we just used. And
That's where we came up with the 100 and 100 or 100.
I think we came up with 100 with that.
We can't hear any of your discussion.
That's
Right.
good.
Sorry. To my recollection, I'm old too. As I recall it, when Ethan was still working here, he did check with both Ozaki and Waukesha counties, and their committee chairs did get, I don't know if it was $100 a month. I don't remember what the amount was, but I do recall that they were getting an additional bump in their salary for chairing a committee. I don't know that it was $100 though. I can't speak to that. Sorry.
Supervisor Mary, it shows your hand is still, oh, never mind. You took your hand down. Supervisor Bishop, do you have anything?
No,
Hang on.
I would think we need to come up with some number to recommend. And we're not doing, like was pointed out, we're not making a increase for the board members. And there's going to be fewer of us. There will be fewer chair people. And granted, we do have the per diem for those that are doing more meetings, but there's going to be more prep also for some of those chair people. I don't think $100 extra for a committee chair is out of line.
And I know it's not on the agenda, but part of the difference in salaries that, part of the difference in the salaries for the supervisors that we're losing is going to fund that position that's going to be the liaison also. So I think we have to be careful so we don't take too much of that, spend too much of that money. So,
But we had figured in a pay increase on this budget that we're not planning on doing.
what again? Repeat that.
Salary and wages, unless that's including that person,
Yeah, in the budget, that person is on that budget,
right?
so.
Because we're going from 187.5 to 242.5.
And we,
Big jump.
and we do have Matt, 40% of Matt Furno's salary on the county board now too, so.
Okay.
So it's just, yeah, that's where all the other things are coming from, both those positions.
Question for you, please. We're going to reduce the board from 26 to 21. Is it the intention that we're going to still maintain the same level of board members on the various committees? And if that's the case, is that not going to mean that some board members are going to have more responsibility on more committees because we just plainly don't have as many board members to go around?
Well, we're-
Is that going to require more participation?
We're eliminating one of the committees, so we'll still have the same amount of people on, there'll be 5 per committee. As it stands now, 4 with human services. I'm required to have 4, we can put 5 on there, but.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Just as a note, if we do go with the 7,500 as opposed to the 66 for the chairs, that's an extra $80 a month. If we make it that even
do
amount,
that.
7,500.
Oh, you're a part of, you're on the committee, so that's fine. You don't need to, if you feel you need to abstain from it, that's fine. Yeah. It's not, doesn't take effect till 22. I'm okay with 7,500. I don't know how everybody else is. It's only 4. The county chair doesn't get that bump. So. And it is good. It definitely is going to be more work for the chair people, the committee chairs, so.
So as it stands right now, it looks like we have it. Carol, are you in consensus with that? Excellent.
Okay.
So we have a consensus of the straight 7,500 a year, or, right, yeah,
Committee chairs.
for committee chairs. So that would,
Sounds good.
that will be our recommendation.
Dennis,
Supervisor Dennis.
So that applies to the 4 chairs of the 4 committees. What do you do about the vice chairman? Now, you can say, well, he doesn't have a committee, so he doesn't have as much work. That could be one way to look at it. Unless the chairman goes down, then he's going to have to cover for the chair if he's not there a lot, or she is not there a lot. So he does actually have some extra work. So it's hard to say.
Chairman Creefall.
We're going to have to redo how we do our executive committee. We're no longer going to have the first vice chair not having chair a committee. So the first vice chair and the second vice chair will have to be committee chairs. So it'll work itself out that way. So there'll also be a committee chair, so. And I don't think we should, do additional bumps. I think that's plenty good. So.
I see the point, but as a vice chairman under Supervisor Schleif, I mean, I haven't had to do anything. I see your point of what if somebody can't.
Or first. and second
Oh,
vice
okay,
chair.
never mind. Wrong one. All right, any other comments, questions, concerns, quandaries on this?
We won't have to have another meeting, so we should be.
Well, this closes my career on this committee. It was a pleasure serving with all of you, and this meeting is hereby adjourned.